Hey, welcome back to another rep. My name is Steve Hagan, and I am excited to introduce you to our guest today, Patrick Murtaugh. He is from, you know what? I'm not even going to tell you where he's from. You're going to learn where he's from. We met each other at IPP down in Florida, International Players Pathway, and he's got a great story. And I'm looking forward to what he's going to do this week. He's got a pro day where he's going to try out for the NFL teams, and I'm just so excited because he's been repping and prepping for this for about 10 weeks straight. So it's super exciting. And before we listen to him, before we get to his story, hit like, hit subscribe. And now let's go get another rep with Patrick Murtaugh. You ready to go? Let's go. Patrick Murtaugh, all the way from Australia, my man. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Coach. How are you?
I know this is kind of crazy because you're actually just in the other room right here, but the delay of the Zoom, so it's all good, man. Hey, we're at IMG at the IPP program, International Players Pathway program, sponsored by the NFL. And we're going to talk about how you got involved in that. But first, let's talk about where you grew up and all that kind of business, because you got a great story. All right. Pat is, let me lead you into this. Pat's 6'6", 240 pounds, and he's trying out to make it in the NFL, and he's got a great chance at making it in the NFL. So I'm super excited. I've been down here coaching him for about 7 weeks, I think it is now, or something like that. We met 7 weeks ago, and I feel like we've been together almost 18 hours a day. So it's been fun. So I'm going to tip it over to you. Tell me where you grew up. Tell everybody where you grew up. And let's go.
Yeah, no, awesome. It has been a ball the past 7 weeks. So I'll start with that. Doesn't feel like 7 weeks, to be honest. It's flown through pretty quickly. But originally, I was born in Brisbane, in Australia. So I grew up there, and then I went to Fiji, and I lived there for a few years actually. So I lived on a little island off the main coast called Malolo Island. So Dad used to work there on a hotel, with one of the hotels, and so it was a pretty good upbringing there, I'd say. Waking up and playing on the beach all morning, then sleep in the hammock and do it all again tomorrow. So that was pretty good.
Were you homeschooled?
No, so that was before I started school, and I actually went to preschool in Darwin. So for you guys with Fahrenheit, I'd say it's 110 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe. Yeah, so you can get temperatures up to about 40 degrees up there. And the best bit was Mum's car. The windows didn't wind down, the aircon didn't work. So it was always pretty fun driving Mum's car over there. Yeah. And then after that, I went down to Southport, basically on the Gold Coast. So I've lived in the Gold Coast my whole life, basically, since then.
Yeah.
And went to the same school there, the Southport School, for 13 years, from prep to year 12, an all boys school.
Oh, really? It was all boys school. I didn't know that.
Yeah, my sister goes to the sister school actually, St Hilda's, and that's an all girls school. So she's been there for 14 years from pre prep.
So tell everybody, did you play sports in your school have sports, or did you do sports out of school?
Yeah, so we. Oh, sorry, something just popped up here. Yeah, so at TSS, the school I went to, it was heavily involved in rugby union. So ever since I basically could walk, I had a rugby ball in my hand. From prep to year 12, I was playing rugby union, and after that, Dad and I kind of set hopes on making the Wallabies team, which is an Australian team for rugby union. And throughout school, I pretty much did everything, just dabbled in everything. I did tennis, did some golf, I swam. But yeah, no, pretty much any sport you can think of, I try to do at school, and it was just pretty good to just try to get skills from all those sports and just have fun while I was young.
Yeah, you're super athletic. We went out on the tennis court the other night. We're at IMG, and they got 100 tennis courts, maybe 200 tennis courts. And we were out there at the championship court, and you can play tennis too. So, yeah, very, very skilled.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I've got one of the coaches still reckons I should go back to tennis and play. He reminds me every time I see him, and there's some testing back there where I've got the record still, and he likes to talk about it all the time.
I didn't know that. Well, I know this. So you grew up playing rugby. Then how did you go from rugby to Australian rules football? And then tell everybody the difference between rugby and Australian rules football.
I missed the back end of that. Sorry, what was the back end of that question?
The difference between rugby and Australian rules football. But start with how you got started playing rugby when you were a little guy. How did you ever get started playing Australian rules football?
Yeah, so I finished rugby basically when I finished school. I didn't want to continue it afterwards. And I actually went to athletics after school. So when we were in year 12, I was just competing in house events and everything, and I did quite well in pretty much all the events. And the head athletics coach, who was Sally Pearson's coach at the time, so she won gold medals at the Olympics, asked if I wanted to come down and train after school and do some decathlon. So I did that. I did some decathlon for 2 years where I went back to back state champs and
I totally forgot about that.
yeah.
So athletic in so many different things. I forgot that you were a decathlete.
Yeah. So that was a fun year and a half, 2 years down there, and then my cousin works at the AFL club where I got picked up at. So she works under the women's program, and she said that there was testing for the academy, so the under 18s, and I wasn't for it. I said no for about 2 weeks straight, saying I don't want to do this. It's not really my sport. But mum and dad basically just said that the door's slightly open. Go kick it down. You've got nothing to lose. If you go and you don't make it, you just go back and continue athletics. So at the end of the day, it was another opportunity, and I went out there and I took it.
How old
And it
were you?
went well. I was 18 at the time, so I was classified as an overager. So I only had 1 year on the program. It was good, and then I ended up making it or being offered a spot to come play at the academy, and the head coach gave me his number and all that, and I didn't respond or message him or say anything for about 2 months until one December day I just rocked up to training and I said, "Hi, I'm ready to train."
Crazy.
So yeah, it took a lot of talking into to get started into the sport. I was a bit scared of change, and then I got into it, and later that year I ended up being picked up and drafted by my team, the Gold Coast Suns.
Wow. That sport. So tell everybody the difference between rugby, because I think a lot of Americans, me included, thought rugby and Australian rules football very similar, but they're really not.
It's so tough. I'm week 7 now at the moment, and I'm still struggling to explain the sport to people around here. But if you're going to compare it to rugby, the oval is not rectangle like rugby. It's an oval shape. You got two big posts and you got two small posts. So basically, the how do you say it? The goal was to kick it through the posts to score goals. So a goal is 6 points to the big two posts, and then behind is what we call it is 1 point through the big post and the small post.
Yeah.
And
so you're always kicking to get points. You always kick it through the goalpost. You don't run it through the goalpost, or there's no like touchdown like we have in American football. It's you can kick it, and you can kick it from as far away as you can, right?
Yeah, if you have a big shoe on you, you can kick it as far as you want. But yeah, you
can't
have
pass a big shoe. This guy, he punts too at practice. He punts the ball, and it goes. Talk about a big shoe. You got a big shoe.
Yeah, a little secret talent, which helps. Yeah. As you say, it's adding more tools to the toolbox. So,
that's right.
But yeah, you can't pass the footy like in rugby. You have to punch the ball.
I know, you punch it.
So that's a cool little trick you have to learn when you're playing the sport. You can only kick it, or you can only as we call it a handball.
And they don't kick the ball as much in rugby as you guys do.
No, not really. It just depends on the situation. In rugby, you can kick it whenever you want.
Yeah.
But in AFL, you have to kick it. It's the only way of really gaining ground. Unless you run the footy, you have to bounce the ball every 15 steps in AFL.
How long did you play AFL?
So the quarters are 25 minutes plus time on. So it's a running clock, as we call it. So if the ball goes out of bounds, the clock keeps ticking, but the time it takes for the ball to leave and then come back into play is added on at the end. So you get quarters where it can go for about 35 minutes, or you can get quarters where it goes for 28 minutes. So you never really know if it's a short quarter or a long quarter. You sort of keep playing till the siren goes.
That's great. That's fun.
The
Hey,
tough bit is though the clock.
so how long
the
did
clock
you
ticks
play?
up.
How many seasons did you play Australian rules football?
I played for 3 years.
3 years. Okay, and
Yep.
you just turned 24 or
23.
23, yeah, because we just
Yep.
celebrated your birthday a little bit ago. So then, so you played for 3 years. Then how did IPP International Players Pathway find you, and what did you think when they found you?
It was pretty surreal, to be honest. NFL has been one of those sports that my dad and I have watched, I think, since I was about 10 years old. And probably, to be honest, if you ask all my mates, it's been my favorite sport to watch. And
Really?
it's not big in Australia. And so when an opportunity like this comes around, it kind of seems a bit surreal at first. You don't think it's kind of true. And now look where we are. We're week 7 of a NFL IPP camp.
Did you know of Jordan Mailata at all? Because was he from New Zealand or Australia?
Uh, he's from Australia. I know he played rugby league here, but I'm not quite sure what his background would be.
Yeah, but did you know of him playing in the NFL
I'd heard of
before
the
IPP?
story, yeah, earlier on. I heard of the story just quite briefly of his story going over there. I didn't know as much as what I know now about him, but
Yeah,
yeah, no, it was pretty cool.
that is super cool. Well, you're going to be the next one. You're going to be the next story like that.
Hopefully, yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me how that went down. So James flew over to England, and how did you guys? Did he know you from the Australian football, or?
Yeah, so my manager messaged me one day saying that there's this opportunity with the NFL IPP, and if you're keen for it, we'll send over some footage of you playing. And I'm pretty sure they came down before we went to London, and they just worked me out for a few days before they had to go back. And I met them for the first time, Will and James, and it was pretty cool experience. And then 2 weeks later, I found myself on a plane over to London for the combine.
How did you? Was it the off season of your sport, or?
Yeah, it was the it was the off season of our sport. Where I literally I'd been delisted from the team, which meant I'd been cut from the team. And I think a week or so later was when it all started to like
Wow.
arise, all this news and everything. And so it was a really quick turnaround from trying to get my body right, because I'd just come off a big season of pre-season as well, and then 26 rounds of footy plus finals as well, and then to get my body right and as best as it could be for this combine in
So
London.
you played 26 games in Australian, and then you play the finals.
Pretty sure off the top of my head, I think it's around 23 rounds, and then we played finals, so it ended up being another 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. Wow. How many teams are in that league?
18.
Okay. I'll try and attach some clips to this just so people can get an idea of what the heck we're talking about, because it is amazing what you did and what you're doing. So then, James, they fly you to London from Australia, and
Yes, that's
you
correct.
go through some kind of a tryout, a combine. What'd you do?
Yeah, so pretty much the same testing you see in the national combine, really. So we did our vertical jumps, our broad tests, 3 cone shuffles, 3 cone drills. What else did we do? Then we did our skill specific trainings as well.
Did you do like
40-yard
40-yard
dashes.
dash and all that stuff?
Yeah, we did. So pretty honestly, I think it was pretty much identical to what you saw just recently in the national combine.
Okay, good. And then how much football, like the language of football did you know before you got here to America? Well, before you met James, I guess, because he taught you a little bit.
Before I met James, I didn't know much. I understood roughly what was going on. I knew how everything worked. I knew touchdowns and where the fields were and the hashes and all that. First down, second, third, and all that. But in terms of formations, routes, over, under fronts, all that stuff, I didn't learn that till James came over, and then it just gave me a little insight before going over, so I had a bit of an idea.
Yeah. How confusing was all that to you?
It was pretty crazy to be honest. Learning the routes. You got 3-by-1 format. You got how do you say it? You got 3-man routes. You got 2-man routes. You got routes that are by itself, and that's what we call individual routes. So learning the names of the routes and then combining them all together with a formation, it just didn't make sense to me at the start. But I was picking up pretty quickly because I just love the sport and I love the game. So when I was watching the game, I'd slowly piece together what a few things were. And James and Will, they were so amazing in terms of helping me and putting in the time and effort via Zoom if they weren't here, or even when they were here, just all the hours they put in. So
Yeah,
they really helped.
yeah. And you're a quick learner. You're a super quick learner. The thing that will hopefully happen for you is you get to be on somebody's practice squad for, that 3-year period, which you'll get a ton of learning in that. But if you get to choose any team, what would it be?
To be honest, I'll just be really grateful to be on a team. Just start off with, that's a opportunity from there. And as you say to me, if I get picked in the team, it's about how I can make that team great. So every team's great in my eyes. But I've been a Denver Broncos fan since day one. I think since 2014, before they won the Super Bowl. So that's pretty cool. When they had Peyton Manning there, they had Von Miller, had a good little lineup there, and then they went on to win the Super Bowl, I think, next year.
Yeah. Well, Pat, so what we do here at this camp is we have breakfast together and then we go meet. And then after our meeting, we go out on the field and we practice. And then we come back, we have lunch, and then there's a little break, and then we go lift weights. And after weights, then we go catch balls. And we'll catch about 200 balls in that half-hour time period. And you have grown as a receiver. You can catch balls one-handed over this way, this way, this way. And you have really grown a lot, and it's been a huge, huge pleasure to coach you. This show's called Another Rep with Coach Hagan. And what does another rep mean to you?
I really do appreciate that. I really do. I think it comes down to the coaching as well. So you made it easy for me to learn and grow quickly. So credit goes to you as well. So thank you.
Appreciate you. Thanks.
But another rep to me, it's ideally the whole aim of the game is to get drafted and to put in the work and put in the reps, and it's about those 1%ers and an extra rep. In my eyes, it's just another 1% that you're just adding to your playbook, whether that's in terms of recovery, you stay back and you do a bit of extra in your own room, or you go out of your way to do extra lengths. Same with the classroom. You on your days off, you go and you learn some more stuff in your own time. You go over your notes, and then back in the and then on the field as well, when you're coming out to training early, another rep. It's not part of training, but you're going out there to get, as you say, another rep. And if you're there 15 minutes early, another rep turns into about 30 more reps, which over a span of time, 30 reps a day over a 10-week period, it ends up being something quite ridiculous. So it may not seem like something big at the start, but in the long picture, you'll start to realize this growth. And I think it should be something that every sports person should really, really hone in on, these 1%ers and the extra reps, and as you say, another rep. So I think it's quite valuable in everything we do, really. It's not even just sport.
Yeah, I love that answer too. I mean, because you add a percent here and a percent here and one back over here and another one. Pretty soon you're that much ahead of whoever's not doing that. And you just keep getting better and better. I love that, man. Hey, I love coaching you. I love having you on this show. And let's just keep repping. I'm here for one more day, and then I got to go teach another team. So I really love coaching you. Appreciate you. So
It's been awesome. It's been awesome. It's quite sad you're leaving in one day. We'll make sure we'll get it done up before we go.
all right. All right. I am out. Great job, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Pat, thank you so much for coming on another rep with me. I love coaching you. I love being around you, and I can't wait to see what your future brings. It's super exciting for me to just be around all the players at IPP and just see where they're going to go and where their dream takes them. So, hey, if you like this show, hit like, hit subscribe. Let's just keep repping. I know I'm going to keep repping. Pat, I know you're going to keep repping. So let's just all keep repping. And I am out.